Hello, welcome to Reanimated. This is Stuart calling from Reanimated headquarters, episode 216. Today we are rounding out Fear the Walking Dead, and along for the ride is my inevitable co-host, H.A. Conrad.
Hello.
Greet the lovely people, H.A.
I'm greeting everybody. Hello, Reanimated fans. Welcome.
How is the East Coast? Are you holding it down?
We are holding it down. You know, doing some rowing, doing some summering. It's all good.
Nice. So I am firing on about 1/3 of my cylinders since I just came in from some flights this morning. And so bear with me, folks. Before we get to Fear the Walking Dead's last two episodes of the A Season 5, we have a few news items. And yes. The first of those was a delightful little thing known as the Zombieland 3 trailer. What'd you think?
I'm very excited about it. I am really looking forward to it. I thought it looked like a lot of fun. I enjoyed them kind of poking fun at all the Academy Award nominees and winner.
Yeah.
It just was kind of fun. So I think I'm going to be psyched to see this.
It looks so over the top this time around.
Well, it was over the top before. So, that's what they do.
More. Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny that every single person on that cast has been either nominated or won an Oscar since the original movie. So,
correct.
Yes. Cool. Fun. I look forward to seeing it. I can't wait to see the Thomas Middleditch, Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Luke Wilson. Scenes coming, because that just looks hilarious.
Yes.
Cool. So Zombieland 3, when does that come out? Do we know?
I want to say it comes out in October, or maybe earlier than that. It comes out soon, right?
Was it in the end of the trailer? October 18th.
Yeah.
Cool. So coming right up, we'll try to get on that review as we do when the big ones hit the theaters. So look for that from Reanimated in October.
Yep.
Also, huge news from Comic-Con this week.
Yeah, so they put out this little hints that they might do the Marvel What If, which is this alternate sort of storyline where basically the Marvel superheroes get infected with the zombie-like virus. So we saw a zombie Cap in this little thing, and a few other people. And so this could be kind of interesting.
And What If is really going to be like an anthology multiverse animated show, which I think it's a series. It has a lot of potential to be pretty cool if they really just let it run away with all of this possibility. And I don't know if you've ever read any of the Marvel Zombie comics. I think I've read one or two, but I don't know much about the lore.
I think I've only read one, so I didn't really get into it. I mean, honestly, you can go down the rabbit hole of the multiverse, and there is just so much to absorb. So, admittedly, I haven't gotten too far into that, but this looks pretty cool. So, yeah. I'm all right with that.
Any other of the announcements from Phase 4, right? Any of the other of those announcements strike you as something that you're particularly interested in?
I don't know. I like Marvel. I'll probably go and see most stuff Marvel. So I'm cool. I'm cool with whatever they throw out there. I think it'd be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
So, and then this is kind of a fun thing to play with. So I'm interested to see how they decide what they decide to do with the storylines in particular. And it gives them leeway. It gives them leeway to be really creative. So
What If is going to be cool. Also, the Eternals announcement with a pretty interesting cast like Angelina Jolie and Nanjiani. I forget his first name all of a sudden. Dude from Silicon Valley. I don't know anything about the Eternals, so I think that I'm pretty excited to see that. And then, of course, you've got some cool sequels like Black Panther 2, Captain Lady...
Black Widow?
Name? No. Oh, yes, also Black Widow, but that's not what I was thinking of. It was the lady...
Lady Thor?
No. Oh, that's cool, too. Sorry. Don't mean to... Love and Thunder, huge news. It's the sequels... We just had her first movie was with the Flurkin, And the scroll.
Brie Larson, so Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel. That's who I was looking for.
Ooh, you're so tired. I'm
man.
sorry.
So either way, I just thought it was a cool bunch of new titles coming out. Not new necessarily, some sequels, but then also some new stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Cool. Last up was just this little article, and I mean, I don't think it's any shock to anybody, but basically it was an LA Times article talking about how zombies have overtaken AMC in terms of identity. Used to be Mad Men. It's lamenting a little bit of the zombie over our zombie overlords. But one of the things which we know Denai Guerrera was leaving the show?
I
think we talked about that. Anyway, they just throw that in there as a aside. But and it's true, they've thrown all in with the zombies. The only reason I put this in there, I just thought it was interesting just sort of seeing the lineup of shows, what's been successful and what has been not, and then just seeing how this has taken off and how many spin-offs they've invested in. I mean, this is just a massive part of their business at this point. So anyway, it's not anything other than that. So
the article to me smacks of sour grapes a little bit, because they're like,
yeah.
well, why aren't they just doing more Mad Men and cool stuff like Breaking Bad? I'm like, well, dudes, Breaking Bad was huge, but it still wasn't as big as Walking Dead. No. So they're following the money. That's what you have to do. Mad Men should have ended in season 4 and not gone on forever. I mean, you could argue that Walking Dead has also outlived maybe its heyday, but they are just they're going where the audience is, and you can't really blame them for that, even though it is pandering. But yeah, so I mean, it's AMC, American Movie Classics. We want them to be consistent with some sort of specific genre.
Well, gosh, up until this point, up until the Mad Men, the Breaking Bad, and Walking Dead, they just weren't doing so well. So I don't blame them for sort of capitalizing upon that. And I do, I get it, because I do think that there could be a little bit more focus on other content, but I think we will see some of that too. And in some ways, that's what they do with some of the Walking Dead money. But that's all I have to say about that. I just thought it was interesting just seeing the layout of the shows in that article. That's all.
Yeah. So that's really the news that we had. I'm sure there's something we're missing, but I'm sleep deprived and HA ain't got time to bleed. And so we're going to move on to Still Standing and Is Anybody Out There?
Yep.
Episodes 7 and 8 of Season 5A, or Season 5.
Right, and so this is the mid-season... Is this a mid-season finale?
The number 8, is the mid-season finale.
So, we're... okay, I guess we should jump into Still Standing, which was written by Richard Nain and directed by Marta Cunningham.
We'll never know.
Okay. Anyhow, this is basically they have the whole group that is they're all sort of broken up into little factions. So we've got John and Dwight still searching for Sherry. We've got Charlie and Strand kind of trying to outrun the sort of infected radiation zombies. Because
they had just crashed their balloon in a field of them,
and then we've got Grace at the power plant. And then, we've also got June and why am I forgetting her name? Maggie
Lucy?
Grace.
Maggie
no.
Althea.
Suddenly discovering that they have a fuel problem. Anyway,
Luciana was there too.
Yeah. But, and then we've got the Annie and the kids group with Alicia. Yeah. So they're all kind of doing their own thing. And again, one of my biggest issues, and I don't know how else they would do it, but the use of the walkie-talkies, again, is just a little nuts. And I don't know what to say about it other than it's just a continuing theme. And is even worse in the next episode. So, but, basically this is sort of they've got a time clock. They know that the plant's going to melt down. And I don't know, there is a lot of discussion in this episode of, and the next episode of sort of what the group is doing, how they're helping people. There's definitely a little bit of I don't want to say mysticism, but there definitely is a little bit of, there are comments that things are happening for a
For
reason.
a reason, yeah. We're meant to be here, and we're meant to be doing this. Yeah,
right, and
all.
it's repeated like over and over again by various characters, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. And I don't know if it's a commentary on the fact that, like, you know, maybe people in these kinds of crazy situations need to have some kind of faith in order to keep going, and they do need to have a purpose. I do think that humans need a purpose. And so that's kind of an interesting thing that I wrote down a note about that I wanted to just chat with you about and see what you thought.
I found that there was just way too much existential like speeching, and
right.
The Forbes guys kind of harped on this in their review of this episode too, was that there were a lot of long kind of monologues and or dialogues of people going back and forth about what's my motivation here, you know, kind of stuff that always felt a little out of time, like they had no time. There's literally, like you said,
right.
the melting down power plant, and then they stopped to have a conversation about like love, and you're like, what?
Right. What is our purpose? How are we helping people? Why are we helping people? And I'm kind of like Morgan, man, who seems to be the one who does a lot of the longer soliloquies. But he like they really do have a time clock here, and so that's the thing that I don't get. It just feels like very roundabout, and so even though there's a time clock, I felt like these episodes, like I just had a hard time slogging through them, parts of them anyway. There were parts where it gets moving, but you know, inevitably we've got you know, the whole sort of dynamic between John and Dwight, and John ultimately tells Dwight the truth about Sherry's last note, and he takes it fairly well, given that, you know, this has
Dwight's
been his quest
so cool
for
now. He's just like Dwight is so well adjusted.
It's weird because it's like, I don't know, like, is it puzzling to you that and maybe this is just what the direction they decide to go in, but one of the things that they really harped upon is that he had a weird faulty memory, and that there was potentially something like early onset Alzheimer's. Maybe it was just PTSD, and like in the stressful situation he was blacking things out. Do you get it? I assumed that there was something like wrong with his short-term memory.
I think that the show wants us to forget, that they ever put that in the show, because they've never brought it up a second. I feel like it never came up more than once. It was like in a Sherry letter way back in, you know, the Prime show, right? Like that's the only time we heard about it. So I think we need to drop it.
Well, maybe I should forget it. But anyway, I just thought that given how long his quest had been, his reaction to John keeping this information from him, as well as his absorbing the information that his wife just is like, don't come after me, don't do it anymore. Well, you know, I thought he took it pretty well.
You can put the most like irascible MFer with John Dory, and they'll become like a little teddy bear after a road trip, because they're just like, oh, John, you're a nice guy. I can't be mad at you. I can't stay mad at you.
I mean, I kind of just want to hang out with John in his car. He just seems fun. I like his little hat. He makes me happy. So, you know, there's nothing he can do that's wrong, in my opinion. But
his obsession with boiled candy and the apocalypse is not going to lend him any favors, you know, with dentistry being what it is. So
this is true. But he is really into that candy, man. But anyway, their plight is that they've run out of gas on this quest that is definitely futile. And they do sort of, through some tricky walkie-talkie work, they do know that they have to get back. So
everybody's walkies are running out of batteries at the worst time. Like, is the plant melting down? We'll never know.
Right.
What's your projection? Is Dwight gonna find Sherry?
I feel like at some point she has to make an appearance, either as a zombie or something. I feel like they're not going to leave that alone.
That loose end. This show, Fear the Walking Dead, has left plenty of people just out there in the weeds.
But this is a very specific storyline that has been the motivation for his character. So I feel like that's going to happen. And I think that's a little bit of what they're teasing with that woman's voice that we hear at the end of the mid-season finale. Or I feel like even if it's not, that's kind of where they're trying to lead you to.
It could go there.
But in any case, we got those guys going on. Then we got Charlie and Strand. And again, there's a lot of stuff between Charlie and Strand. A lot of discussion about fate and stuff and why things have happened while they're trying to, like, you know, get propellers that are really freaking heavy. off the ground, and they are miraculously, like, this is what I don't understand. Like, they're all supposed to be radiation zombies, and Morgan kills them. Which
he kills them, but he's wearing a suit. But he kills them
guess.
with the mop handle.
I guess.
And then I think he kind of gets rid of the mop handle. He certainly gets rid of it by the end of the second episode that we're talking about. But he doesn't get rid of it right away. Right? And it's just another wooden stick that he doesn't just kill one nuke zombie with it. He kills like a whole bunch of them. But yeah. So,
and then, and then he's yammering on for a while, so there's that.
And so it's Strand and Charlie. Isn't that when Strand is telling them, like, we've already accomplished something miraculous? Or was that when they crashed the balloon? Either way, they go into, there's a lot of these little back and forths about how amazing it is and how great everything's going. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, what's amazing is that you managed to get that turn that balloon into like a wall in as little time as you had with a zombie horde coming down on you. But okay, more power to you.
And we've also got a lot of the Morgan therapy with Grace in this episode. She's repairing the generator. It's not going so well. Morgan does a little bit of like weird character reconnaissance at her old house and then decides he's going to rescue her. Again, this feels like it takes forever. Did that feel like that to you?
Yeah, it did, because he's having lots of different walkie conversations, just one while he's there with Alicia. But he's like looking at her Thai food takeout menus and is like, she had a life before, right? I mean, it felt a little bit like, all right, I'm looking at two pictures you have on your fridge and a menu, and I'm deciding that you used to live for something. Right. It just kind of made me chuckle to think that was his reasoning for going back.
Yeah, I mean, they do a little bit more. I mean, there's like a birthday card. There's pictures of her with like probably loved ones. There's like music tickets. Like they're trying to do a little bit of vignetting here, giving a little.
Yes, okay, I'll grant you that. But it's like it's the equivalent of looking at somebody's work cubicle and being like, I know you as a person,
Right. So again, it's a little strange. There's nothing that's like sort of bombshell that he discovers there, but I guess that's what's going on. And during this time, he has a really long, annoying dialogue with Alicia.
Because Alicia needs a lot of pep talks during this episode.
Yes, because it's basically I can't get the kids to come with me. Okay, try this. Okay, I can't get the kids to come with me. Okay, but you've got to. Okay, I can't get the kids to come with me. Am I wrong? Like, it feels like we go back and forth on this for a long time. It's sort of like, at some point, maybe the kids aren't going to come with you. But, I mean,
I will just jump to the end of the episode. Best part of the episode is where she swallows a bunch of zombie blood. And you're like, oh my God, is she dead?
Yeah.
Not that we want her to die. Alicia is the last of the Clarks.
Yep. I don't want her to die, but that was, like, kind of nuts. But... and she's kind of like, this is her main thing in the episode is that she's trying to convince the kids to come. She tells a lot of her story. They're pulling a lot from Madison. It feels very Madison, even the way she's talking to the kids. And it's kind of, to me, it's weird because, like, the kids are old enough to, like, Annie especially is old enough to get that, like, a meltdown of a reactor would probably be a bad thing. Like, she's not dumb. And so I just kind of feel like them getting to this point took forever. And also, the weird strung together zombies got away really quickly and turned into a horde really quickly in a way that was really just unbelievably stupid. And that bothered me.
And the more I think about, like, that these kids were responsible for all of these guts. Remember the scenes of all the zombies up in the tree, their heads?
Yeah.
Did they have ladders? How are they doing this?
I don't know, but anyway, and some of these zombies are definitely radiation zombies.
Turns out.
So they've been tying them together, so the kids are exposed. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's, like, kind of weird here.
I have a feeling all this radiation stuff is going to end up being, like, kind of written away somehow.
Probably. We're going to forget about the fact that they're all cancer-ridden, whatever.
I mean,
but
there's even a line later on in the second episode we're talking about where Grace, Karen David, is just like, oh, Morgan, you can use that old stick. You'll be fine.
I know. It's like, what?
Oh, okay. Radiation is sometimes really bad and sometimes it's just okay. We'll figure it out.
And ultimately, like, she gets, like... Alicia turns into a hero. She draws the herd away, but definitely a splash of the radiation blood. The kids have made a clean escape. And again, these kids, for kids that are so resourceful and have managed to stay alive, they seem to be really upset about sliding down this thing from a treehouse.
And totally incapable of facing down a zombie without a firearm.
Right. It seems weird. So I'm just kind of like really bothered by that turn of events. But I guess
what's the older brother's name? The one who's wearing the CNL hat?
Oh gosh,
Max, right? Is
Max. Yeah, and then
the
little guy. What's the little guy is?
He's Dylan.
Dylan.
But Max, he talks about having been spending years in the woods stringing up zombies, and if it's been years, it
gotta be a little bit more like, I don't know.
I mean, they're little kids, but still, kids are adaptive, and they would learn how to take down a zombie, I would assume.
Well, it's also that we've seen them all strung up together. Obviously, they've been manipulating this thing, so even if they can't necessarily, like, I feel like they're a lot less helpless than they tried to somehow make them out to be in this, and then I get it, that's the way to make Alicia the big hero, but it's a little annoying. Anyway.
So that and to speak to a point that I brought up in an earlier podcast where it's like, what is inside this circle of zombies that better be amazing? It ends up being a little bit like, remember Hook, the Robin Williams movie?
Yes, it's totally their like little treehouse. That's it.
Like the Lost Boys treehouse. So, but that's okay. I mean, I'll take that. That's pretty cool. It's nothing like, totally evil or big. It's a little thing, but that's still cool. So
yeah. And remember when we were talking about, keeping secrets and stuff, how Al managed to keep the secret about her adventure for like one day or not even a day, because she immediately spills to June once they get the fuel. And
she doesn't spill 100% though.
No, true. But still, it's like, oh, goodness. And they managed to get up enough fuel for like this plane, which we know there's just no way that's going to be enough. But anyway.
I mean, the plane is a huge red flag for this entire story arc, but we gotta let it go.
I know.
They did it. It's happened. I really hope that planes are not the new walkies.
Right. And then we kind of have spun around a little bit, but Morgan at one point finally convinces Grace that she should join them, and so she gives up her. Because she's being unsuccessful anyway and keeping the generator going, but she gives up the ghost there and decides to join Morgan with the group and fly out of there. So, and the sort of like big end of the episode is that like all the sirens of the power plant go off because it's going to have an explosion. So it's in a full meltdown. It's
all happening, folks.
Mm-hmm.
And so the sirens, the klaxons are still going off. And actually the beginning of this, the last episode starts with, they've picked up Alicia somewhere along the way. When we leave off, she's like off in the woods with a bunch of zombies behind her. And we don't really know that she's going to even try and find her way back to the group. But at the beginning of the last episode, she's taking a shower.
Yep. In Grace's handy little decontamination shower
truck. I don't think that in a decontamination shower you're supposed to stand in the contaminated water as you shower.
I don't think you are either.
I'm pretty sure that's against the rules because then you're just contaminating your feet. But she's standing in like a kiddie pool, whatever. That's fine. They have a really hard time getting away from this pack of 40 gut zombies, like for the whole episode, basically. Notice that?
Well, and what's weird to me about this is that those klaxons are going off, and they're so loud that you would imagine that no matter what, I mean, maybe it's visually that they see these things, but I just feel like they would have gone towards the plant. That would have been kind of like the bigger distraction, but I guess we can't have all the tension because we've got Morgan and Alicia and Grace escaping and trying to get back to the group without leading the herd, but they're unsuccessful in doing that. There's some really sloppy driving by Grace. And so that's part of it. And we know, I mean, at least I knew that there was going to be something with this herd at the end, which I will tell you when we see the kids like helping with that little cargo net off of the plane, I was like, oh, there's going to be some zombies dragging on that thing. Like there's just no way that doesn't happen.
Well, they could rebuild airplane engines, but they could not put a ladder on the back of the airplane.
Correct. So, anyway, also during all of this, by the way, the plant has melted down, and there's like a cloud of radioactive dust in the air.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's that going on. And, John and Dwight are trying to get back. They have no luck. And finally, the thing that you and I have talked about for a very long time in the series comes to pass in that they can't find cars that will work because the gasoline has kind of gone bad.
And Dwight talks about it. And then at the end of this episode, Logan also talks about it. And then it becomes like a huge plot point. But I'm glad that they're paying attention to it.
Me too. It was like, it was just totally implausible. But in any case, they find a working car, which is meant to be, according to John, because there's hard candies in the dashboard. But so they're on their way back.
That's more of that Providence for you, right? I mean,
yep. And then, they see yet another random message from Sherry. She really puts a lot of detail into her messages. Like, in this case, she, paints a tree.
Do you think that was her or just some rando?
I don't know.
It didn't have the infinity symbol. It had just a ladder.
Oh, true. But I don't know. In any case, they find another car.
They they go and find the Chrysler or whatever it was, yeah. Her car that she'd left at the camp. But that is also far-fetched. So they're down to the wire. They've just run out of, their car's broken. And then they're like, how far do you think it is to the van? We don't know how far it is, but it's got to be at least a mile. I don't know. It seems like they're in the middle of nowhere, Texas. It should be a long way. And maybe just there's some time dilation or compaction going on. Contraction. But they managed to get there. The beeping, it was a little predictable that it was going to happen that way. I didn't think that they were going to leave John and Dwight behind in an unreachable area. That didn't feel like a good way for them to go out.
I wasn't sure. I thought there'd be something and that they'd have to make their way back maybe separately, and it was a way. I mean, they've been playing up the John and June relationship so much that I felt like something bad was going to happen. I was really hoping, because I love John Dory as a character, and so I was happy that he made it onto the plane. And it was up until the last moment like a nail biter. And we've got all the gang back together, reunited, plus a
bunch of kids.
Yep, and the Lost Boys have joined them. And then on the other side of the mountain, we've got Wendell and Sarah trying to I don't know, why would they I just was sort of shocked that they would even go to Logan to try to get help. This seemed a little far-fetched because he's been such a dick.
Honestly. Why wouldn't they go to Daniel, although they didn't know where he was?
Yeah, but anyway, I wasn't shocked that was Logan, but I guess this was just a way to see what was going on at the factory. And Logan's team is not so supportive of him, and they haven't found the thing that they were looking for, whatever it was, and they've trashed the place.
I was happy to see that. I always like seeing inside the bad guys' camps.
Yeah.
To see all the things that are going wrong with them, because things are going wrong with the good guys constantly, so why shouldn't they be going wrong for the bad guys too?
Right. So we got that going on, and it seems like they're going to abandon the camp, but he doesn't want to help them. And, Sarah does a little bit of her why they feel bad about, killing this partner or stealing the rig from the partner, and that they're trying to make up for stuff. And then she and Wendell get reunited with Daniel, who helped them make a runway of lights, which there's all sorts of things wrong with this idea, just given the number of walkers run around. I mean, the fact that there were only two that sort of muck up the work seems incredible to me, but
yeah.
But I do like it. I like the fact that, you've got them on the ground trying to take care of things. You got Daniel, and I really like Daniel.
Daniel has come back in a good way, right? I mean, he could be kind of moody and kind of a downer previously. So it's nice to see him being just this force of positivity, even though he started off being a little sketchy about Strand, deservedly so.
Right. And so again, the implausible thing of this plane even making it this far is, but we'll have to gloss over that because the show runners want us to, I suppose. But they managed to land the plane. Wendell has a moment where he has to drag himself to do a last minute Hail Mary plugging in of the lights that have been sort of shorted out by a walker.
But not before he stops crawling to radio his sister.
And tell her beer sucks. Because there's no time, man.
If I don't make it through just crawl, man. I mean, everybody with the lack of situational awareness and short timelines, there's no time for the heartfelt messages. You just got to do the thing. Golly.
Right. And, John Dory does that on the plane. He proposes to June with a candy wrapper, and she accepts, so that's cool. And then there is, like, a nice, fun little, like, reunited thing that happens in the end.
A little dragged out. Like, people
little
get off the plane
dragged out.
5 minutes apart from one another.
I know.
Also, there's another throwback to The Walking Dead Prime when Grace breaks Morgan's stick and says, "Here, I fixed your stick for you." Because didn't somebody else do that to his stick?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the context. Was it like did somebody break off the pointy end of his stick before?
I think so. But in any case, that all happens, and then we get the next hint about what the rest of the season will be about, and what Logan has been about, which we have just discussed.
But honestly, like when Alicia and Daniel have their reunion on the runway, I got goosebumps. And I was really happy to see. I mean, I'm also super proud.
That was cool.
But it was really nice to see them get back together because I don't remember what scene in season 1 that they first met. But obviously, they spent seasons 2, 3, and 4 basically together. Yep. Or not 100% in 4 because he was off doing his own thing. But, they were some of the first people that her family and his family got together
and they're the only survivors of their families.
Crazy Nights, yeah. So it was nice to see them together. It was a little weird that he and Luciana had did they never have a scene together?
I don't know. But I don't think that was I don't know.
I think they did not. Because remember, she snuck out of Broke Jaw Ranch early on. And then I don't think she was around for any of the dam stuff. And then she just suddenly kind of popped up again at the beginning of last season.
So she's new to him. And he's new to her. But, yeah. And, as we mentioned, there's a little voice on the radio that said she'd been listening to them. And kind of gets cut out because Logan decides to make his grand appearance and get basically.
I don't know how he did that. Does he have a jammer? How can he block out another radio signal?
I don't know, but he just cut into it and then tells them that he needs Clayton's journals because of the gasoline going bad and that he has a new source of gasoline.
Or like a refinery, I think, or something.
Probably.
They're basically he hints that there's some sort of post-apocalyptic refinery that Clayton has set up.
Right. So that's kind of where it is. And I will tell you, the number of walkie-talkie incidents in this, but at least, and it's not that long of a hiatus. This is back in August, right?
Oh, it's back in, August 11th. It's back in 12 days from, I don't know, not long.
Yeah. So it's not a very long time, but, so we will certainly jump into that. Though I will note that I have a pretty busy stuff going on with work as always in August. So we'll try to do our best, but please forgive us any pauses in the schedule.
In the meantime, I'll do a bunch of solo shows where it's just me talking. Everybody will love it.
I think people will love it. You're interesting to listen to.
Oh yeah, the best. Well, AJ, it's been a pleasure as always going through Fear the Walking Dead season 5A. I'm pretty, to use a Wall Street term, bullish on 5A so far, even though there were some over the top splitting bullets with axes and airplanes and walkie-talkies. Overall, I'm still pretty happy with the ensemble. I think they probably do need to whittle it. Yeah. I'm wondering how they're going to deal with all these children.
I don't know about whittling, but I think they need to tighten up the storylines a little bit. And now that they're all in one place, maybe that's easier to do. I don't know. But I'm okay with it for the most part. I do like a lot of the characters. I like how this is going much more so than I liked the first 4 seasons. So. Wow.
It's all high praise.
Yeah. So in any case, we will talk more about that when it comes back. If you would like to give your thoughts about the first half of season 5, leave us a note, reanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. The Twitters is reanimatedpcast, or you can leave a note on our site, which is reanimatedpodcast.com.
Those are all true facts. And I just also want to throw a plug, which I probably should have brought up in the news section, for the show that was released yesterday on Amazon Prime, The Boys. I don't know if you've seen any of it yet. It's like a dystopian superhero sort of show based on a comic book series that I was unfamiliar with. But it's got Carl Urban and other actors who I can't think of any of their names, but I'm having a lot of fun with this show. It's dark. You'll love it.
How far in are you?
Oh, I'm basically done. I was on airplanes. It's only 8 episodes. Hopefully they'll do another season.
Okay, cool. I will check it out. I didn't even know about it, so thanks for telling me.
Oh, yeah.
So until next time, ciao.
Thanks for listening, and bye.